But now let's move to the Kupiansk direction of the front. Yes, this is another sacred goal for Putin and his entourage. Accordingly, the situation here is also extremely tense. In the Kupiansk direction, the enemy attacked 5 times in the areas of the settlements of Novosinovo, Glushkovka, Novaya Kruglyakhovka, and Zagrizovo. During the week, specifically on April 30th, Ukrainian border guards had their professional holiday. The State Border Guard Service is not just about patrolling our borders. Over 3 years of full-scale war, the border guards have transformed into a powerful combat force that fights alongside the armed forces of Ukraine and the National Guard on the hottest fronts. The border guards now also have heavy weaponry, artillery, missile systems, unmanned and conventional aviation. And RSN correspondent Andrei Tsaplienko claims it was thanks to such armament that the border guards managed to repel an important section of the front near Kupiansk from the enemy. Here the Russians planned to cross the Oskol and establish a bridgehead. However, the border guards thwarted the enemy's plans. Let's look at all the details. Every departure of the border guards to the position is a lottery. If you made it, it means you drew a lucky ticket. Anti-drone nets along the road and burnt-out cars remind of the aerial threat, which makes the drive across themselves when entering the semi-destroyed settlement.
It's a very dangerous place. FPVs fly, drones fly, reconnaissance drones, Halls, Lancets. I am a believer, and it helps. And it helps.
Despite the fact that Russian drones are actively searching for the position of these rocket launchers, they manage to reliably camouflage their installation. Ukrainian border guards are a powerful structure, equipped even with missile systems. In particular, thanks to these mini MLRS, the concept of which was developed in the State Border Service, it was possible to stop the enemy here, in some areas near Kupiansk. And not only stop, the guys claim, but also push them back. A success that should be consolidated. The State Border Service proposed combining the Croatian RAU S-12 trailer system with an armored army Humvee. What seemed like a simple technical solution at first glance turned out to be very effective.
When the gun fires, it has its own recoil. On a light vehicle, it seems to wobble, but on this vehicle, it stands as if it's one solid unit.
For some time, the border guards tried not to show these installations. Now it's clear why. The compact rocket projectiles, despite their size, have great power and produce an unforgettable psychological effect on the enemy. The installation can make 12 launches in 10 seconds, and while the rockets are still in the air, it can disappear from the launch position.
Come on, let's go.
That's why the enemy until recently didn't know exactly what was hitting them.
You can press for single shots as much as needed, 1, 2, 3, and there's a salvo. I press and hold until all the projectiles are launched.
But it's hard to keep technical solutions secret for long in modern warfare. But the Russians won't be able to replicate the Ukrainian success. They don't have such ammunition or vehicles. In this area south of Kupiansk, the enemy never reached the Oskol River and was even forced to retreat. The border guards believe it's thanks to their combat work.
When I held these positions and advanced significantly forward, so pushing the enemy back further. This is all thanks to this vehicle and the team. There was work, there were shells, we worked a lot.
The crew received a new target and is moving to a new firing position. And it's a couple of kilometers east of the point where we saw this machine working earlier. The line of combat engagement has moved away from Kupiansk here. The success, though local, is motivating. Time plays a decisive role. In the air, the strongest force is the drones. One of them is very close.
It flew by.
Everyone fully understands what could happen if it spots the installation. A command is given. The first 2 rocket projectiles fly towards the enemy position. After reconnaissance confirms a hit on the target, the full package is launched. Speed is the main advantage of this installation. They haven't even reached the enemy yet, and the crew is already leaving the position. Lesha, quickly take the camera. The guys are working in coordination with the drone unit of the State Border Service, so the success of the ground forces here should be reinforced by Ukrainian drones.
These will be multi-strike drones working on the front line, FPV drones a bit deeper in the rear, and large night bombers even further back. Our reconnaissance wings are deep in the rear, there for the purpose of destroying, detecting artillery equipment, concentrations of equipment, and enemy logistics.
The MLRS crew is returning at maximum speed through villages completely destroyed. The combat mission was completed 100%. Today, military fortune is on the side of our border guards. To maintain success tomorrow, we need to be faster and smarter than the enemy. Only this way can we stand firm.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Well, now we move to the blazing Pokrovsky front line. The enemy is becoming more ferocious here as well. On the Pokrovsky front, Russian invaders made 26 attempts to push our defenders from their positions near the settlements of Alexandropol, Malinivka, Lisivka, Dachinska, Kotlino, Udakhne, Novoserhivka, Nadiivka, Novo-Oleksandrivka, Kotliarivka, Troitske and Andriivka, as well as towards Myrolyubivka and Aleksivka. The defense forces are holding back the onslaught and have already repelled 20 enemy attacks. 6 clashes are ongoing. The enemy also launched airstrikes with guided bombs on the settlement of Pokrovsk. 24 explosions, one after another, relentless, hellish strikes. During the week, the Ukrainian city of Dnipro was hit again at night. The Russians attacked Dnipro with drones. Unfortunately, there is 1 dead and 1 injured. These are ordinary civilians who were simply at home during the attack. All the details right now from TSN journalist Anastasia Neverna.
A house shattered and burned to the ground. This night, the Russian army targeted the homes of Dnipro residents in the private sector. These charred walls were home to 78-year-old Vyacheslav until yesterday evening. It was here that he was injured. Fortunately, his life is not in danger. As neighbors told us, 6 months ago the man buried his wife, with whom he had lived for 55 years. He has not yet recovered from the grief and now has lost his home.
We went there on Monday. He had put up a little monument there. And now you see what happened. They had such order in the house. They almost had carpets lying in the yard.
This house is also destroyed. It was here that a Russian drone struck the night before, taking the life of a 53-year-old man. Footage surfaced online showing attempts to resuscitate him at the scene, performing chest compressions, but it was all in vain. The injuries were too severe. The wounded man could not be saved. Nikolai walks through his burned-down home. He says tenants lived here while he stayed nearby with his paralyzed wife. Everyone miraculously survived.
That's it. There's nothing left. Thank God they were sitting in the kitchen. I live nearby. Grandmother hasn't woken up yet. She's paralyzed. She's bedridden after a stroke.
The first explosions in Dnipro occurred at 10:30 in the evening, one after another. About 20. Alexandra and her daughter, he says, prayed to stay alive.
Everything. It was like you. We're completely overwhelmed. Oh God, I was all shaken up. How it trembled. God, I jumped up. I'm trembling. My daughter was also terrified, praying, reciting some prayer. You know, we're in such shock.
The woman is 86. She says she survived World War II, but doesn't remember such mistreatment of civilians.
This is already another war. This is already the second war. I remember the German one, kids. I wasn't completely little, I had grown up. I was born in '39. I already remember when the Germans were in our village. Even they, the barbarians, didn't mistreat people like this. Even the Germans didn't mistreat like these do.
Her neighbor, who lives next door, completely and wholeheartedly, and without any hesitation or doubt, agrees with her.
I have never seen such horror in my life. We've been on Valerian until this very moment. We're trembling because it's such a horror. They say they don't shoot at residential buildings. Where did they shoot? There's no factory, no plant, no military unit here. Where did they shoot? They shot at the civilian population.
In addition to private homes, a business, a funeral service bureau, and cars were damaged. Utility workers and volunteers have been tidying up the streets since night. Despite the attack they endured, Dnipro continues to live and work.
All for today, but very soon Front News will feature new, unique materials from our journalists in the hottest spots of the war, gathered so that you know the truth. This was Vladimir Timoshenko with you. Take care of yourself and your loved ones.